Hi, this is Mike Carruthers, producer of the Storytelling Project. Lama Alrakad is collaborating with me on this project. She is an actress and was a television producer in Damascus. I am grateful to have her help and support. Lama, along with her son and husband Majid, are three of the more than 25,000 Syrian refugees living in Canada. Her story, like the story of all Syrian refugees, is similar in that her family left Syria due to the civil war. It was no longer safe to remain in Syria, and there was no future for her family as a refugee in Lebanon. She has many advantages to other Syrian refugees in that she is highly educated and very fluent in English. It is still not easy adapting to a different culture on the other side of the world. While physically safe in Canada, she misses Syria and her family that has stayed behind. She did not want to leave Syria. She loves her country. You can hear in her voice the heartbreak of being forced to leave her homeland. This recording took place in Castle Park in Port Coquitlam on August 11th, 2020.
So before leaving Syria, I lived in Syria, in Damascus. I lived in a small city beside Damascus. It belongs to Damascus. It's not that far away. It's just 8 kilometers from Damascus. So that city was in the border between terrorists and government of Syria. We had a lot of weird stuff happened in our area there. So I moved from my first apartment, and it was burned because terrorists attacked it and attacked our area, and they took it. So we left from our house at the night time, barefoot, without anything, literally. So we went to that city, and we stayed there in my family's house, my parents' house. And we thought that here we go, it's going to be a good place to stay, so we are going to rent another place. So we rented there, and because it was close to my parents' house, we thought that it's going to be a good idea, like my mom going to take care of my son, and everything will be okay.
And this is in Damascus, then?
Yeah. So we lived there, and terrorists started to attack us every day, literally every day. We got shells from terrorist side, like 5 or 6 per day. For what? I have no idea. Don't even ask me. We were just civil people living there, doing nothing for them. So they started to send shells every day. Every day we had people who were just dying from those shells. They bombed also the schools, the daycares. One day, I have the feeling that it was raining from the shells. I know it's so hard to express this feeling, but rains from the shells, believe me. It was literally like that. So I had so bad feeling inside my heart. I decided to go to bring my son from the daycare earlier. I didn't want to wait for the school bus. Usually in Syria we use a school bus also for the daycare or for the preschool children. So I decided to not let him come with the school bus. I don't know why. It's just the mother feeling. I went to the daycare, bring him, we walked home, and we stayed home, and it was raining. It was rain from shells. Stayed home, and like 2 or 3 hours later, people started to talk about shells bombed one of the school buses, and it was a daycare school bus. And I had that bad feeling. So I opened the news, I saw it was his school bus.
Wow.
His friends, his classmates at that daycare, 2 of them died because the school bus got a shell. 2 of them, they were in the hospital for long time. I don't know what happened. Then 2 of them, because their parents didn't want to stop the machines that they let them survive. They were 4 and 5 years children. So I decided to not put my son anymore in the school bus, like to walk him or to drive him. Then I found a job in the city center of Damascus. I had to go and to drive every day, and it was a fast road between my small city and city of Damascus, but it wasn't a usual fast road. It wasn't a usual highway. It was a border between the hell and the heaven. So on that board, in that road, people from the government side, or army from government side, and the other side were the terrorists. So I had to go, and it was the only road that it was working at that time, because all of the roads, terrorists just control it and started to kill people on it. So it was the only working road at that time. I always put myself inside that car with my son and went like 160 kilometers per hour, or maybe sometimes even more. And I remember one day, it was not like, for me it's funny, but at that time it was so scary day. I still alive after that day. I was driving and it was a night time, but it was a little bit light, like you can see. So I was going so fast, and I realized that there are bombs coming from the government side to terrorist side, and you can see the fire, how it's coming. I just stopped the car, pressed the brakes and stopped. And I started to think how to do. So now I'm so close to the terrorists, they can take me with my son. Or I can cross and I will die from that bombs. I have no idea. I started to count the bombs. So they need like a little bit time, about 30 or 40 seconds, I think, to put those bombs inside the tank. I saw the tank when I came closer, like to bomb the other side. I came, I waited, I was ready, and I saw first bomb went. I was very fast, crossed, and the other bomb went through behind my car. I asked my son to stay underneath of the chairs inside my car, and I was like, oh my God, it's just living in the border between the heaven and the hell, the border between terrorist and government side. I had a lot of things that we went through inside my small city, and inside my big city Damascus, and inside my lovely country Syria. It's so hard to stay when it's war, believe me guys. We didn't come here because just we love to come to Canada, or we love to leave our country. No, I love my country. I will support it to the last day of my life. But staying there, it wasn't safe. It was a matter of life. It's a matter of future. So we were working with my husband. Then, so you need to work to find money to support yourself, to eat, to pay the rent, to pay your bills. My husband was working, and he was going to his work every day. So one day in the checkpoint for the army, they told him that he must go to the army, because that's how the things is going there. Like suddenly they decided to take him. And going to the army, it's not the best idea at all. So my husband didn't serve in the army before. Like he served, but in a place where they didn't teach him how to use the weapon. So he will go and die, for sure. And you will never know, because of the corruption, how they will treat him. So maybe he will stay hungry for days. You will never know. So he gave some money for the officer there, because of the corruption. It's easy to do that in Syria. He gave him some money and said, please let me go and say bye for my family. He came home and said, they asked me to go to the army. What I have to do? I was like, we will try to pay money to let you home. And we started to do that. But like after a while, they started to ask more and more money. And we couldn't pay that. And he couldn't move inside the city. So working was so hard. And from our city, like work there, not that, good money. So he cannot stay there like forever. So we make a decision to cross the border to Lebanon. Like to stay there until he will be like 43 or 45, I cannot remember. So they will stop asking for him to go to the army as the rules in Syria. So we left Syria like in night time to the border. It was illegal. And actually, by the way, we don't have real border between Lebanon and Syria. So you can just cross, like we have many houses in Syria, like in the border between Lebanon and Syria. So the half of the house is in Syria and the other half is in Lebanon. And those places are usually opened, especially nighttime, and no one will take care of who's going in or out. So we went there, we walked a little bit, crossed the border, and other car was waiting for us because I have cousins in Lebanon. My aunt got married to Lebanese guy, my uncle, and so I have many cousins in Lebanon. They waited for us, they took us to Beirut, and we stayed there for 2 years. And while we were sitting there, my sister-in-law called us from Canada, and she said, "Would you like guys to come to Canada? Maybe it will be better for you." And by the way, I wasn't so sure that I want to go anywhere. Like I was happy, and it wasn't like not the best place like for me to stay in, like in Beirut, but still I could work online with my guys back home in Syria, and I could do a lot of stuff. My husband was working. It was enough just for eating, but still I don't want to leave. But people sometimes in Lebanon, like they are not very friendly with Syrian people, especially if they realized our accent. We tried to speak in Lebanese accent to show them that we are not Syrian, like Lebanese like them. But every time when they were asking for documents, we didn't have any document. My cousins were trying to support me, but still life in Lebanon is so hard, like for them. Yeah. How about, people who are just refugees? So we stayed there. We were like not sure coming to Canada or not. So after, asking friends, family, they told us it's better to leave. So we left and we came to Canada. We stayed in Lebanon for about 2.5 years. And where we go, we are here.
How long have you been in Canada now?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
Do you feeling at home here at all now?
Yeah. Yeah. Still need more time,
Yeah.
Researches always show that a person needs about 5 to 6 years to adapt.
I believe that.
Yeah. So I'm still like in my adaptation process.
We moved from British Columbia to live in Ontario for 13 years, and it took us years to adapt when we came back, and that's the same country. And
it's the same country, the same language.
Same
Look
language,
at us.
Same culture, but thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike.